Watching the Recovery Clinic. This is a show where we carry a message of hope to people who are suffering from addiction and trapped in the house during COVID. My name is Jimmy McGill. I'm a person in long-term recovery from the disease of addiction. And what that means is I no longer am a slave to my own, I don't know what kind of fancy lingo I was looking for, but I don't have to use anymore today. And so I've got some really amazing guests. You guys are going to love this. You're going to hear about two different stories today where parents experienced tragedy due to drug use, and through that pain, purpose was built, and two life-changing missions were basically groomed and just took off and are affecting Arkansas in positive ways. And so I've got Paula Cunningham and I've got Miss Staci James. And these are two totally beautiful mothers. Paula started the Parker Gill Foundation after losing her son, Parker, to a drug overdose. And Staci started the Hope Movement Coalition after losing her son, Hagen, to a drug overdose. And so one thing that we all know is you don't have to be the person using to be affected by the drug use. And so that is something every city, every small town in Arkansas is going to suffer some type of tribulation from substance use. And so, Paula, Staci, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We are so glad to be here.
So let's start with Staci. Okay. Tell us a little bit about who you are, a little bit about your story, and what it is you do today.
Okay, well, my name is Staci James. I lost my son Hagen in March of 2019. Actually, day after tomorrow is 2 years. It was a fentanyl-related overdose, and you know, these days with fentanyl, folks don't overdose on fentanyl; it kills them.
Right.
After losing Hagen, I struggled because there wasn't support for me, for my then 16-year-old son. Kind of felt like we were alone on a raft in the middle of the ocean, and I knew that it was so necessary in order for us to move forward in our healing. And so one thing led to another, and we started Hope Movement Coalition. It's me and two other Arkansas moms, Tracy Carter and Deborah Toman. And our whole purpose in starting this was to create a community within our community, a family, a bond where we could all walk through this together, where as moms who've lost children, we could help other parents, but at the same time, you know, our children taught us how to fight for someone and with someone and encourage them, and that part of us didn't leave when they left us. And so getting to be involved with the recovery community and be cheerleaders and kind of like team moms is one of the most fulfilling things about it for me. Is because I believe in recovery. You know, it's wonderful to see the light behind the eyes, to see the joy, to see the passion and the desire to do something more, to do something better. So, you know, we just try to support both communities.
Yeah, I love that. And so, you know, I made a video yesterday, and the sad reality, and if you're watching this and you're struggling with addiction, you need to know that you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Paula, you can reach out to Staci. We've got resources from every side of the board. And so, you know, the reality is everybody stops using drugs. That's right. The disease of addiction guarantees a person three things. You will either go crazy, you will either go to the grave, or you'll go to prison. Now, you can either live out one of those three guarantees, or you can get clean and find a new way to live. Either way, we will stop getting high.
Right.
And that's the sad reality, right? Like, that's the harsh truth that a lot you people don't want to hear.
No, they don't.
Yeah. Paula, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So Parker passed away on August 29th of 2018, and Parker struggled several years. His first time to go to treatment was when he was 17 in high school.
That's young.
That is young. And then he went to treatment a couple of different times, and he really, really struggled. And I saw him not wanting that disease. I saw stigma, you know, that was killing him and weighing him down, and the disease was weighing him down, and he wanted nothing more to to find recovery.
Yeah, stop using.
To stop using. He told me many times, Mom, I just want to be that son that you deserve, and he would say, I want to be normal, and I don't know why I'm like this, and he struggled with that. And so for me, when he passed away, he actually was on a ventilator, so I was actually able to be there at his bedside. And I knew that we were about to lose him. We had to make a decision to take the ventilator or take him off the ventilator. And at that point, I made a choice.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was going to be faced with, and I could either accept what God was giving me, what I was about to receive, and that was the loss of my son, or I could rebel and, stay stuck in anger and grief. And I chose at that moment, I remember sitting there going, okay, God, I'm going to praise you in this storm. I'm going to praise you with what's in front of me right now, and I'm going to accept it. And now what do you want me to do?
With the tragedy, so.
Yeah.
How long were you at Parker's bedside? How long was he there?
It was 2 days almost. It was a little over 24 hours. Yeah. Almost 40, yeah. So.
And so from these two tragedies were born two nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
And so you and Staci have this common bond. Mm-hmm. Now what that's called in
We're new sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we are.
And it's a pain that is very unique that only someone who has been there can identify with,
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing about parenting a child that is so broken and hurting so badly is that we grieve many, many times throughout the disease. I told somebody one time, I had to grieve graduation pictures that were on Facebook and these big celebrations and wedding photos and prom pictures because I knew I would never have that. And so there's a grieving process that when you get to the final grief, you've already gone through the 7 stages of so many times. It's just kind of like, okay. And so finding somebody that understands that complicated grief is a true blessing.
I want to clear up too, and some people get it wrong when I say I praised God at that moment. I wasn't praising him because he took my son. I wasn't praising him for what I was getting. I was praising him for who he was, because he was still God, and he was still there. And so I always like to say that, because I wasn't praising him because I was losing my son. But I did.
I completely get that. My pastor's house burnt down as he and his wife were on vacation.
Oh, no.
And so they were at a conflict to start this church and all this stuff. And so they're like, okay, so when they pull up home, everything they own is gone. It's in rubbish and ash. And so they said, we're going to find a way to glorify God in this tragedy. And so out of that pain was born a megachurch that has changed the lives of thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
And so I completely understand, and I'm sure our viewers do too. Before I started breaking down a while ago, thanks for coming to my rescue, Staci.
I saw your tears.
Well, so that common bond that you guys share, that's only unique to mothers and fathers who have lost children to addiction. In the world that I work in, we call that peer support.
Exactly.
That means you have direct lived experience that only someone with that same direct lived experience can identify with. And that is the power of peer-to-peer recovery.
It is.
And so the term peer support means two of the same, two equals, two mutuals, right? That go through these fires together. And by leaning on each other, you come out of the flames refined versions of yourselves.
Absolutely.
And so what you've got is family support services. And so it's really cool to see two moms from two separate sides of the state coming together. And you guys work together a lot on a lot of stuff.
We do.
So talk to me a little bit about that and some of the stuff that you guys do.
Okay. Well, I want to start with the Parker Gill Foundation and why we started that, because Parker passed away. But for me, I saw gaps and I saw a need for a safe place for him to go when he got out. And so I realized that if you're in recovery, or if you're not in recovery, death is a huge possibility. So if we could prevent someone becoming, addicted, prevent them from using, or if they are using and have an addiction, to get them into recovery. So Parker Gill Foundation is based on prevention and recovery is key to saving lives. So that's that's what we want to do. We want to prevent it. If not, we want to get them in recovery. And so that's kind of where we started. And so the things that I do, or our foundation does, supports that. We want to support prevention, but we also want to support recovery.
Yeah.
And some of those things that we do together.
Well, and I think Hope Movement kind of steps in behind that. We want and do all of the same things, but I think from the grief side of it, stigma is disastrous for families that have been through what we've been through, because they're not able to talk about it, and there's the shame and the guilt because society says, oh, your child died from a drug overdose, that makes them less than. And so one of the things that we work so hard to do is not only put the faces of the Can You See Me Now banners in front of everyone so that they can see. There's no look, there's no personality, there's no particular person that you peg as an addict. They're beautiful people. They were loved by so many. And so what we try to do is just really kick stigma in the teeth. And what Paula and I do working together.
Give it some dentures.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. And so us working together, the mothers of our state, they know who Paula is, they know who I am, they know who Tracy and who Deborah is. So those are the mothers that call us. They may not call their pastor, they may not call their next door neighbor or their best friend, but they trust us. And so we're just working, I think, really hard together just to get rid of the stigma.
Yeah.
Because this is affecting 1 in 3, 1 in 4 people in our state nationwide.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very soon going to become the majority.
Absolutely.
And we have to get ahead of that and make it okay to talk about.
Yeah. And
so
that's advocacy work. That's what we do. We have to humanize the disease of addiction, right? Like, and if you see it, even the people that we used to fight about, Paula, fight with over it being a choice or a disease, like that argument's going away. At this point, like less and less you see of that. And so now it's about, okay, well, how do we humanize it? And we humanize addiction by talking about it.
That's right.
You know, if you, and there's nobody else here in addiction at the table, so I'm just going to use me, right? Like, I'm a husband, I'm a dad to 2 kids, I'm a homeowner, I'm a contribution to society.
Yes, you are.
I've started a nonprofit, I have a government job that allows me to oversee recovery stuff at a state level, right? And so when you want to know what addict looks like, it looks like me. You know
what's beautiful about that is I've gotten to know you, and so thankful that I've gotten to know you, but I use you all the time, and you don't even know it.
That's so cool, man.
Because someone will say, I just can't do this, and I tell them, you don't understand. I know someone who has. You don't know how many friends I have. So I know if they can, you can. And your story that you tell, other people can tell it. One of the coolest things that Staci and I have done recently is that we are doing a victim impact class at the Pulaski County Jail. So we're talking to men and women who are incarcerated, and it's really awesome. We do that once a week, and I told them the other day something about you. I was able to share that, and somebody knew you, and they all laughed, but I'm like,
but we'll call him Jimmy.
I'm like, if Jimmy can do it, anybody can. And so that's beautiful to me.
That's cool. Thank you so much.
Yes.
For that. So before we talk about some of the stuff you guys do collaboratively, let's talk about what Hope Movement does and some of the activities that the Parker Gill Foundation does and why your nonprofit organizations are so important.
You want me?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, with Hope Movement, we kind of wear a few different hats. Our support of the recovery community is, we believe wholeheartedly in the restoration of families, and we know that through addiction, we see so often that those that are struggling hurt the ones that love them and that they love the most. And so in honor of Deborah Toman's daughter Taylor, we do what's called...
Deborah.
Oh, she's amazing. She is. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
We do the TLC from TNT, and we call those blessing bags. So at Christmas, we're able to love on those that are in recovery that maybe can't go home or are allowed to leave and don't have a home to go home to. And it's just to give them a form of encouragement, let them know we believe in them. This past year, we were able to love on their children as well by providing gifts for them to give to their kids as kind of an olive branch. And that is growing and growing and growing. Was that me?
That was me.
We like
Jimmy.
to see what you guys are
We're
saying.
live. I was going to say hello to somebody, but we won't do that anymore.
I don't have
Keep
my
going.
glasses on, so I won't pick it up. Anyway, and that's kind of on the recovery side. Just wherever we're needed, wherever we can love and encourage and support, that's where we want to be. We also assist families in paying for funerals. That
good.
is a big need. I know
Huge.
of families that have had to leave their children in the hospital morgue
Yeah.
for months because they don't have the funds, and that's just not okay.
Yeah.
So we try to help them in that way. And the beautiful thing, I think, with what we have with our state's recovery community is this. I get a phone call from a person that's in need, and I know I can call you, Michaela, Kyle, Chris. I can call so many different people, Patty, and say, guys, I have someone in need, and pass them off and know that person that's in need is in great hands.
Yeah.
And the backside of that is I'm notified when we have a loss so that we can love on that family in that moment and say, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
So powerful, right? Like walking through, Stephen Wright says, we love you, Staci.
Oh, I love you too.
So that is so powerful. And so you guys heard it here. When you need family support and unification or even help with the funeral cost, you need to contact Hope Movement Coalition. You need to contact Staci, and we'll get that up here in a little bit. You know, I say it all the time. The work we do comes with a passion that can't be bought, taught, or replicated, right? Like you only get this from experiencing the pain that we go through. And so thank you. That's so awesome that you do all that. And it's a beautiful thing, Staci. I immediately start thinking of women that need to join. Like I think about Teresa Roberts.
I love her.
Yeah, I do too. She's one of my favorite women. She goes to my church. She's involved in Faith Gang, which is
And I met her at Recovery Awareness Day.
Yeah, and so and you know, she lost her son Andrew, and they're gonna make me cry again. This is a really emotional show. Like,
Well, yeah,
you know,
it is.
hang on, you know, I start talking about certain stuff, and then I tear up, and then the more I talk, the more I cry, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to hold my composure. But you know, Teresa, you know, she's walking for her son Andrew next week at the state capitol on the 22nd, and so. Yeah, she needs. I think about those, and you know, Matt Burks called me from the drug director's office last night.
We both got
Well,
that.
and I actually talked
too.
to that father last night.
Yeah, and so I'm like, well, where are the dads at? You know,
They're coming.
And well, the problem is, we're dads, we're the men, and so we're stuck with this illusion that we're not allowed to hurt or we're not allowed to cry, and the pain is the same.
Absolutely.
You know,
It is.
if you lose your babies, the men need that camaraderie that the women have built. And so...
And that's coming. You know, Brian Yeager's in Batesville. And actually yesterday was his son Garrett's 6th year. Some folks call it an anniversary, some call it an angelversary, but it was the 6-year mark of the last time he saw his son. And you know, he's a great dad, and he's a strong voice in the movement. And so I believe wholeheartedly that the dads are going to start coming, and they're going to, and especially with the Can You See Me Now banners, we're seeing more and more dads be the ones to submit the photos, where
So,
typically it's been moms.
Brian Yeager is on here now.
Hey,
just
Brian.
saw
Hey,
his
Brian.
Comment. Thanks, guys, for all you're doing. So look forward to hearing from you. If I'm hearing praises about you this early in the game, that's a good thing. Come on over, Brian. We need you on this side
That's
of the
right.
fight. Parker Gill, talk to us about what you...
I just want to say, you know, you want to keep your composure, and it's a tough show, and it should be that way. You know, these are beautiful people, beautiful people that we are losing to this disease, and I don't ever want to forget that. and you know, tears are okay. Moms, dads, friends, family members. This is a loss. It's a huge loss.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, when I faced that loss, I feel like God prepared me for that day. I just felt it. I can't explain it. You know, the things that I had been through. He had started with the 12 steps in Al-Anon in 2009. Felt called to go to seminary to do biblical counseling, and just all of these things he put me through, and learned that I was able to be in that situation where I said, okay, what do you want me to do? And Parker wanted to actually, he called me and he said, Mom, I feel like God is calling me to go speak to the students at Robinson. And he said, I want to warn them about this, because I didn't know that first time I took that opiate what it was going to do. But I also want to tell them there's hope. Because see, when he was living in the recovery housing and living in treatment, he was happier. You know, he had gone through and processed some, you know, some trauma and some things that he had been through, and then he was happy. He loved that. And so I told him, yeah, we'll do that, because he wanted to go warn people and tell them that there was hope, and I told him I would go do it with them, and we'd do it together. I just saw us doing that, you know, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen that way.
That way.
It's
that
happening
way.
now.
It's happening right now. And so I did get to go speak to the kids at Robinson High School shortly after he passed away, and got to share his message, you know, and also warn them. And so I knew that I was going to have to do something. And I called Kirk, it was a month or two after he passed away, and I said, hey, here's my story. I want to do something, you know, and then he got me plugged in, and I just kept, you know, taking the next step and doing whatever I felt God was leading me to do at the time. And so someone said, hey, would you like to start a foundation? You know, I'd like to do something for Parker. And I never really even thought about doing something on my own. And I thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Bring it on.
You know?
Come on, soldier up.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not me. You know, I can't do that. But but God gives you, you know, God has given me everything, every step of the way to do this. And so we, like I said before, we knew we wanted to help recovery, because when I see you living in recovery, I see my son who didn't make it living through you. And I also know that it's possible. It just didn't happen for Parker.
Yeah.
And so I know how tough it is. You know, I saw him struggle. Man, he struggled. You know, he tried so hard. And so I also saw the support that was needed for that. And so
well, and that's one thing I don't think that society, they don't see how hard folks are fighting for their lives while they're struggling.
Oh,
Hagen
just
fought.
quit.
Yeah,
They
Hagen fought. He constantly fought.
I got an email from Hagen early on. Remember? Yeah, early on. So yeah, there's a common misconception, and so if you're watching this, you need to know that old lie, once an addict, always an addict, that's a dead lie.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, we don't use because we enjoy it, because we find pleasure in it. At the end of it, I was staring at a loaded syringe, hating myself because I knew I was going to do it. I would be crying so long that the salt water would crust in the form that my tears fell on my face, and I would pray and not understand why I knew I was going to use and I didn't want to use. That's the power. That's the mental obsession of just this phenomenal of craving that you're dealing with. It's undescribable. And your brain is telling you, if I don't do this, you know, I can't not do this. I have to do this. And you know, at 9 years old, I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. I don't know if you guys know that.
I did not know that.
So yeah, I've you know, they told us for years that there was hope that I would outgrow my tics. I took Halidol and Impramine as a cogentin to counteract the Halidol, because most of the time it was used as psychiatric medication. But it was the only thing that worked for my tics. And so about 26 or 27 years old, my tics would start coming in and they would start going out. And then the less and less, as I got older, the less tics. And I haven't had a tic in a decade now. But I remember when they diagnosed me, I was having to describe it, that I just had to do it. There was, like, I would try to not do it, and I would have to. You know, and so it's a lot like that. It's a lot like what addiction is. Like your brain is telling you, this is what we do. You don't have a choice in this.
Right.
So what's some of the stuff that Parker Gill does for prevention and recovery?
So we want to support people in recovery. Yeah. And with COVID, like it has been, it is really, really difficult. But we have, we've helped Next Step Women.
Yeah, a lot.
And I'm in support of Next Step Women because you have good quality peer-led recovery housing, and that's a big need in our state. And so we went and helped you actually construct. I painted, not a whole lot.
The new women's house. In El Dorado.
We helped provide building materials for that new women's house in El Dorado. We do a lot of feeding.
You guys.
Anytime I think it's very important for people in recovery to gather and have a good time. Yes. And that's important for.
It's key.
It's right, key. And so we like to support those kind of activities. We helped you with the Recovery Awareness Day.
Big day.
Yeah.
That was a big day. We had 750 people come to one spot to support recovery that day. And that was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you how God showed out. I didn't hear about one case of COVID that stemmed from that. It was an outside event. We followed all guidelines once you got into the lake. Now, at the end of the day, I mean, that was just a great day. We had live music. We had guest speakers. We had the Can You See Me Now banners. We had all that. One thing that I want to bring up that you and Staci did, and Deborah, was the Christmas in Recovery. So 6 years ago, my wife and I was in treatment. It wasn't treatment. I was in Kempree at a place called Williamsburg, and that's where I got clean at. And I always recommend that place to people. But I'm in there, and I was able to go home on Christmas past. So Chelsea comes and picks me up, but I was sad. And I was sad because my roommate couldn't go home for Christmas. And that there were people in the center that didn't get a weekend pass for Christmas. And so Chelsea says, well, let's just take Christmas to them. And I said, what? That's stupid. That's crazy. And so, but the more we thought about it over that year, and I shared about it in my meetings, I'm like, it was just really heart-jerking. And so that following year, when I was no longer a resident, I started raising money, and Chelsea and I organized a team.
Oh, wow.
And we went in there, and we called it Christmas in Recovery.
Okay.
And so that was 5 years ago. And so every year since then, I've raised thousands and thousands of dollars. And this last year was the first year that, because of my personal life and my professional life, I had too much on my plate to do that. And I got this call from you guys.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I never mentioned it. I never brought it up. I was like, it's like God had passed the torch.
God passed it
on,
didn't he?
And so Christmas in Recovery should live on every year. And now I think that's a wonderful, maybe that's a collaborative effort that all the mothers could get together.
And that's how we, not that we market it, but that's how those that you see at those meetings are mothers, aunts, sisters, through Hearts of Hope of Arkansas, which is a group of Arkansas women that have been touched by addiction. And so those are the women that we ask to come and participate and eat with us and stuff the bags. And so they're all put together by someone that knows. That knows what the loss feels like, what the battle feels like. It's done with more love than anybody can imagine. And it's a good time. And Paula just about knocked me out at Christmas with your ta-da pose.
I know.
We have a great time. And and that's something too that we like to do with Hope Movement and Parker Gill Foundation, is to bring everyone together. Something that we're working on is the Memorial Garden.
I love it. We need it bad.
And
where's that going to be?
Well, I'm meeting with Chris after this.
Awesome.
So to be to be announced. We're doing that, you know, and when we joined together last year for the International Overdose Awareness Day, there was something very profound about the families walking from one side of the bridge and the recovery community walking from the other and meeting in the middle and becoming one. And I think that that is what is so beneficial both to the grieving community and the recovery community, is that we know we can count on each other. We know, I know that you're there for me, Jimmy, and I know you know that I'm there for you.
Yeah,
and that's something that just, if we can get that message out, you know, you may not be able to talk to your neighbor, but you can call Staci, Paula, or Jimmy.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just getting that message out there. And that's what's fun about it, is it's Parker's mom and Staci's mom and Taylor's mom and Trey's mom working together. And yeah, we have these 501c3s, but at the end of the day, the message is simple. We want you to know how much you're loved. We want you to know that there is hope.
Yeah. So where does somebody donate to Parker Gill and Hope Movement?
Yes, so you could. We have Facebook and we have a website. So the Parker Gill Foundation. There's www.parkergillfoundation.org, or on Facebook at
Parker Gill Foundation.
The Parker Gill Foundation.
Yeah.
It's very simple, so you can donate either way.
Yeah, and that's
way.
tax deductible. You guys can write that off at taxes.
Absolutely.
And so what about Hope Movement?
Well, Hope Movement, one of their directors isn't very tech savvy, so we are I'm just gonna, it's me. Our website has been in the works for about a year now, and it's just not done yet. And so, you know, email, really. We do have our Hope Movement page on Facebook.
Yeah,
we have the Can You See Me Now group. That is a private group for folks to submit photos of their loved ones. There are questions that have to be answered before we will let you in the group. We're very, very protective of the group and of the banners. And just email at hopemovementcoalition@gmail.com. We're working on becoming more official. But honestly, when you're so busy doing the work, I don't think about that clerical stuff. I just don't think about that. I want to touch people and love on people. So I'll get better. I'll get better.
You know, go ahead. Mom.
Yeah, I didn't finish earlier things that we had done. I want to bring up as well the M18 also is here in Little Rock, a phenomenal program for men, and we've done several things to help them. I think it's really important. You know, a small growing recovery center and recovery housing needs things, and so they know they can call me. You know, I've helped with the freezer. I was really excited about that at one point because I know that Parker, I could just see Parker filling that freezer up with deer meat, you know. And apparently that's what happened,
I
you know.
wish mine was filled up with deer meat.
Yeah.
I love deer chili.
Yeah.
It's the best.
But we also have helped, I actually am a co-leader of a recovery group that we started at our church. It's called
awesome.
Grove Life Recovery Ministry.
Okay.
I felt like God was, you know, I kept thinking God was going to send somebody to our church to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I even tell my pastor, don't be surprised if a man comes up and says he wants to start, you know, a recovery ministry, you know. And finally, you know, I kept hearing God say, you know, you
are the
need
one.
to do this.
So God's talking to me about a lot of stuff, ain't he?
Yeah. So I did, and I started that, and Parker Gill Foundation was actually able to buy all the materials and the Bibles, the Grove Life the Life Recovery Bible. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's amazing. But we were able to help that and support that program, and we were able to purchase some Bibles to take to another recovery center here. We went and took pizza and had lunch with them and gave them all Bibles and recovery material, and so anything like that we'd like to help. But we're really excited. We want to grow and want to be able to help more with recovery housing and maybe get a scholarship fund set up for people who have gaps that maybe they can't afford to pay, they don't have insurance, and so that's something in the future that I want to do. That's in my dream. So more recovery housing in Arkansas, preferably Little Rock, that's a dream, and then the
so
scholarship.
it's the most important piece to sustainable recovery. And so if you're watching and you're not familiar with what Paula's talking about right now, is if you go to treatment or you go to 12 steps or you go to detox, wherever you go to get off of whatever you're using, if you go back to the same environment where there's drug usage, it's like getting sick and the infirmary sending you back to a house that's full of COVID, right? Like, you can't get better where people are constantly sick. And so housing offers you a safe place to live and a safe place to find recovery while you walk through those complicated early waters. And so I want to take this last 8 or 10 minutes that we have and let you guys split that, and you can tell our viewers whatever you want to tell them. This is your time. Say whatever you want to say. And so you've got...
you got it?
You got 5 minutes
I got 5
Let's roll
minutes?
with it. Yeah.
We got to talk about the Parker Gill Memorial Golf Tournament.
I'm going to be
There's
golfing.
a Parker Gill Memorial Golf Tournament in April. There's things flying.
She said Parker McGill.
I did not.
That's what I heard, Parker McGill. I'm like, wait, what? I'm tripping.
The
That's not what it
Parker
sounded
Gill
like.
Memorial Golf Tournament.
Memorial.
Golfing to save lives.
I love
I'm
it.
so excited about this. So it's a little different, and it's kind of been a little confusing for people, but we wanted to do it different because of COVID, because we didn't want to risk people gathering in large groups at a golf tournament before and after the tournament and get people sick. And, you know, we were just really afraid. I know that we'll probably be opening up and masks won't be as big a deal in the future, but it was important to us. We wanted to do a fundraiser. We had always, from the very beginning, wanted to do a golf tournament. So we decided to do it differently. We're doing it where throughout the month of April, you can go and play golf. You go to our website, the tournament website. It's www.pgftour2021.com. Lacey, if you're watching, put it in the comments.
Love it.
Yes. And so that website is really amazing. You go and you register. You can put the different players down. You can register to become a sponsor, and you can pay right through the website. It's really cool. And then after that, you will schedule a tee time.
Yeah.
At your convenience, whenever you want to go play, anytime in April.
That's cool.
It is cool. And so what you do, we're doing fun things through that. It's the honor system. You play, you write your score down, you don't lie, right?
Don't
Don't
fib.
fib. And then you turn that into the club manager. But you want to take a picture of your scorecard. So,
Yeah.
you know, you're at your, playing golf, you get your team together, because the craziest or best photo wins a prize.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Jimmy won.
Yeah. I'm going to do that. Like,
Yes.
upside down on my head with a golf ball in my
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
Right.
And so you're going to tag it. Our hashtag is hashtag PGF Tour 2021.
Parker Gill Foundation.
Yeah,
Tour.
PGF.
I love that. That is awesome.
It's kind of a spin-off from the PGA, right?
Yeah.
PGF.
It works.
stuff.
It works.
I
But
love it.
so that's exciting. We're going to have also throughout the month of April. I wanted it to be an awareness event as well. So weekly in April, we're going to do raffle drawings. We've got really fun raffles, and I'm bringing in people, recovery speakers. I've got Lone Oak County Sheriff's Office and Crystal Holland, who's the peer there now.
Yes.
I've got Grant Lee from Ancura. I've
Yeah.
got Tucker Martin from Serenity Park.
Wow.
Yeah, Ashley Costa.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great speakers.
Yeah, let's see. J.D. Skelton's going to come with her. We've got Monty Payne.
That's a good speaker.
He's going to
Yeah.
talk about medication-assisted treatment. And
Money Monty.
Monty. And he's going to talk about Medication-Assisted Recovery Anonymous. I can't
Yeah,
wait for
love
people to
it.
hear about that.
Love it.
And then on the 30th, we'll have a big award ceremony. These will be done through Facebook Live.
I love that.
Yeah, so we
That's
get
creative.
awareness out, and we've got packages, Titleist golf balls, and then we're going to combine that with a $50 Visa card, so that'd be a raffle drawing. That's a good
That's
prize.
awesome,
That's an
yeah.
amazing prize. We've got
Yeah.
Jing Lockwoods. Jing Lockwoods gave us all of this merchandise, shirts, a lot of golf stuff, and so $150 package. We got
Awesome.
2 of those. That's amazing. A soft pack, Arctic soft pack 20 cooler. It's really nice. It's light. It's really cool. We're giving that away. A golf bag. So that's really cool. And so we've had Serenity Park Recovery Center sponsoring it, Williams Tractor in Northwest Arkansas. Parker actually worked for a company in Louisiana that they owned, and so they're sponsoring. I think that's
Awesome.
really cool. Richards Honda Yamaha here, and go get your Honda and Yamaha there. It's
Go
amazing.
get it.
David's Burgers, Greystone's helping us. and Pam and Scott Cummins from Louisiana. They're individuals, and they're
So you
really,
got a lot of help
yeah,
in this.
got a
That's
lot
awesome.
of help sponsoring. So y'all join in. It's not just about playing golf. It's about saving lives.
Hey, and just so you know, don't come after me. That worst score, that's my money.
Oh yeah, there is a worst score prize, and we're saving it for Jimmy.
That's mine.
We do have cash prizes, so
Yeah.
yeah, $300. Go to our website.
Yeah, that is going to be freaking amazing. I can't wait. And so it'll be my first game of golf ever. And so I'm going to swing that club.
Oh, I'm coming just to watch.
I'm swinging
It'll be
it.
fun.
I'm swinging that for Hagen and for Parker.
Yes,
you.
yes,
you know?
yes.
And so, you know, I don't know. I told Paula, you know, not to sound arrogant, I told, man, I'm good at a lot of stuff. God had to let me suck at something. Just talking.
That just
Don't-
sounds
don't.
just like something he would
It's a
say.
joke. I'm not trying to be egotistical or arrogant. Chill out. Don't be
That's
writing
funny.
me no hate mail. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, Paula?
I just want to say, if there's anybody out there watching, struggling, I want you to know, I want to tell you, don't give up, reach out.
Yeah.
We want to be here for you.
Absolutely.
We love you.
Absolutely. Email us on this page. Stacy?
Well,
Clock's yours.
okay, you know, we've got a lot of things coming up. We've got the Memorial Garden. We do another International Overdose Awareness event in August. We're also planning a fall event. All of that information will be coming soon. So please, if you don't, follow Hope Movement on Facebook. That's where we'll make the announcement. And I just want to speak to the families that have lost a loved one. You know, our Can You See Me Now banners, they're precious, and they belong to the families, not just to our Arkansas families, but nationwide. Those are your banners. Those are a way for you to remember your loved one. They do not endorse anyone but the families that have said goodbye. And so if that's something that you would be interested in doing, you can email us at cysmnbanners@gmail.com. And I just want to say to, you know, keep saying recovery community, grieving community, we're all one family. And if Hope Movement can help you in any way, please reach out to us. If I don't have the words to make it better, I promise you I'm going to call one of a dozen people. We're here for you. We will fight for you. And we love you.
Well, you heard it here first on the Recovery Clinic. If you haven't already liked and followed our page, please do so. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you for having us. We love y'all.
I can honestly testify that these two women are what they say they are. You know, they have helped my wife, myself, the recovery community, the houses that we oversee. I love you guys.
We love you.
Jimmy.
We
And-
appreciate all you do for the recovery
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah, I try. Next week's guest is in Cura, Grant Lee, and guess who's coming with him? That's right, Chelsea McGill.
All right.
So if I have to hold my head down and not talk up, you know
The boss
why.
will be here.
The boss lady will be in the house. That'll be a fun show.
It will.
You know, she's responsible for the best side of me. I was a hot mess. Even when I was clean, I was bad. I was cussing in the kids section, smoking in the non-smoking section. I had zero living skills. I thought all people behaved like that. It was terrible.
We love you, Chelsea.
Thank you for that good work.
Hey, listen, see you guys next Wednesday at 11.
All right, love you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.